Hi everyone and welcome to today's video. Today I am doing a quick review of this ink, the Leonardo Officina Italiana Classic Sepia. I got this in a sample from Pole Prediction here in Australia. Lovely range of ink samples, so check out Pole Prediction if you are in the market. Whether you're Australian or overseas, it's a great range of products at really good prices. This is the ink I'm looking at today. It is Leonardo Officina Italiana Classic Sepia. It's a nice sort of, I would say, honey brown. It's good. And it performs really nicely. These Leonardo inks do perform pretty well indeed. I'm going to show it on a couple of different pieces of paper, put it under a couple of tests, show a couple of comparisons. That's where we'll go. All right. So, firstly, this is the rodeo little page I just do, which is just writing, with the ink, showing it, sort of wetness samples. A lot of that is, of course, the pen as well. And I had it in this pen, which is a Pilot Custom 74 with I think it's 14 karat gold medium nib. And it's not the wettest pen on the market, which is what I like about it. But because it's slightly soft, it does let down some nice ink for shading. And you can definitely see that here in the sample. One of the things I like about this ink in particular is the shading properties. You can see, there's no bleeding or anything like that. So, really solid ink, as these Leonardo inks have tended to be. This is a everyday book from Galen Leather, which uses Tomoe River paper, and so here we have it on Tomoe River. So you can see here, it's a nice light brown. It's in terms of sepia, I think it's more honey brown than a straight up sort of sepia color. But let's talk about the ink. So the 5 points I put here, amazing shading. Once again, I'll get something nice and close, you can have a look. Even just the Z there in amazing, and the A, beautiful light to dark, but even the light is legible, which is really nice. It's a lovely performer. Looking at the reverse of this page even, there's ghosting because it's Tomoe River, but nothing bleeds through, nothing is feathering. It's just a really good sort of stock ink, which is really handy at times. When so many inks perform with different, sort of functions and stuff, this is just a beautiful color that performs really well. It said it's wet, but it's got a decent dry time. It does take longer to dry on Tomoe River, as you can see from my little smudges occasionally. But the ink does have a relatively good dry time, but still, has a nice wetness and flow on the page. Now, this ink is a little pricey, in my opinion. I'll get onto the price a little bit later, but you are paying sort of mid to high range price for a bottle of this ink. And the other point I've made here is that it's easy to read. For a light brown, there's plenty of darkness there. It's got good contrast on the page. And even if we look at that rodeo page again, it is perfectly legible on this paper. So yeah, it's a solid performing ink. Whether it's appropriate for professional use will depend on your job. But maybe not for legal documents, as the sort of the water resistance here sort of shows. It is low water resistance, and the chromatography sort of, actually the chromatography performs better than the sort of the swab sample there. You get those lovely light browns and then some gorgeous yellows in the middle there, which I think is what gives the ink some of that vibrancy. But let's talk about the performance of the ink. Dry time is good. You can see on the rodeo, even when it's sort of wet, it's not sort of, sort of smearing in a watery way. It's already settling in sort of into the page. Feathering and bleed are good, and the saturation is pretty good, especially for a light color. Extras, there's no shimmer, there's no sheen, but there is excellent shading on this ink. Price, well, at Pole Prediction, which is where, as I said, my sample who provided me with the sample for this review, it costs, for a 40ml bottle, it's $26.95 Australian, and a 2ml sample is $2.95 Australian. So the sample's, fairly reasonably priced in comparison to, other inks. Now, from a major US retailer that stocks this ink, the ink is listed at $19.95 a bottle. So you are putting it certainly above brands like, you know, your diamines and, you know, those sorts of standard, you know, brands. It's the same price as a bottle of Robert Oster, yet you get 10 mils less. And there are only a small range of colors. I think there are 6 colors in the Leonardo lineup, 6 or 8, and you are stock standard colors. So, you know, not particularly fancy inks. Come in nice bottles and all of that. In fact, you can watch my review of, I think it's Deep Purple, where I talk about show the bottle and all of that. A couple of comparisons I put here. So this is Burnt Sienna from Diamine, which is obviously much redder and slightly darker. And then I've got Oshi Yellow, which is a Diatomentus ink, which is more brown, you know, than the Sepia. But you can see the Sepia has some really lovely dark shading. And like, in comparison to those, you see that just the contrast of the shading that is possible from this classic Sepia ink. So I have given this ink 4 out of 5. Now that is a slightly higher score. Like it's in the higher realm, and that's because I just think it's a really nice performing ink. There's nothing, you know, like, it cleans well, it looks great on the page, it doesn't bleed, it doesn't feather, it has great shading. It's always legible, and in the 2 pens I've had it in now, which are the Pilot Custom, as I said, the Pilot Custom 74 and a TWSBI Eco before that, you do get, you know, like, pretty solid performance, and as I said, it's always legible, and that is such a plus with a lighter ink. So this was Leonardo Officina Italiana Classic Sepia ink. I hope you found this video interesting and useful. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notifications button if you want to stay up to date with the videos that I produce. Please feel free to get in touch using any of the platforms listed below. You can find me on Instagram or Twitter at @the_offstage_me, or you can contact me on any of my videos here or drop me an email, which is listed down below. If you've got products you think I should be looking at, or if there's a way you'd like to support the channel by sponsoring a review or providing an item for review, like Poll Prediction here did with these Leonardo ink samples, please get in touch and let's see what we can do. In the meantime, enjoy your inks, enjoy writing, and I'll talk to you soon.